hustle show. Yeah, it's a hustle show. No matter how you get it, and it's all a hustle flow. It's a hustle show. Did I say a hustle show? So stay tuned when I'ma show you how this hustling go. It's a hustle show. Yeah, it's a hustle show. No matter how you get it, and it's all a hustle flow. It's a hustle show. Did I say a hustle show? So stay tuned when I'ma show you how this hustling go.
The hustle, 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 the hustle.
Back again. Y'all know what it is. It's the Hustle Show. We here giving y'all that fire. Island style. Island style in the building. Here come the hosts right now. Pressure and Starr, Street News Zone, official host of the Hustle Show, and Keith Muhammad, Love for Self, special guest host. Give it up for him.
Keith Muhammad of Love for Self.
I'm Precious Starr, and this is the Hustle Show. This week we are interviewing Carnell Burch, and
we are at the Island Restaurant. We here at the Hustle Show. Hustle don't necessarily mean anything negative, but the Hustle Show is your hustle in life. What you do to make money, what you do for your grind, what you do to be positive. It's all about your hustle. Right now, this is Street News Hustles. So we're going to bring out our first guest. He ran for mayor this year. He lost an election a couple days ago. One of my best friends, Carnell Burch.
How you doing? How you doing?
Good.
All right.
Are you ready for some questions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Have a seat.
It was a long election year, but short for me.
All right, brother, you looking good, man.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, in no homosexual way, but you know.
I'm still sleeping well. I'm still sleeping well, even though I lost.
All right,
It's all right.
What happened, man?
It was just tough, man. It was tough. You know, low voter turnout. You know, I think in the city, people really don't have a real interest in politics. You know, especially the African American community. You know, it's really tough to actually get them involved in the things that really affect them. So, you know, I think that was my greatest challenge, is trying to get them to go to the polls, and that didn't happen. So,
I mean, what did you do to try to get them to the polls?
I mean, it was difficult. The only thing you could do is, you know, just like the petition process, is you work the neighborhoods and you work the community. My target base was really, I didn't really have one, because the other candidates, you know, they had, you know, other African Americans work in the black community so they can focus on their base. You know, I really didn't have a voter base, so, you know, and I really didn't have a large political team. I didn't get a lot of donations, so it was really tough to put a real campaign together, especially when you have two other candidates who are non-black, have African Americans working their campaign to work on and hustle the black vote. You know, this is the Hustle Show, and you know, those two individuals, or three individuals, really hustled the black vote to sway it. Those who did come out, to sway it towards those individuals, and by the numbers, it really worked out for Dyster. So that Ronnie Cunningham did a great job hustling us. Thanks, Ronnie.
So what do you think you did wrong? Like, what do you think you could have did better?
I mean, if you look at the numbers, I think what I did wrong was enter the race. You know, I basically got annihilated. You know, it wasn't even a,
Really?
Yeah, basically it wasn't even a challenge. I mean, it was like 50-1. That's how many votes the ratio was that Dyster had, that I had. Mm-hmm. So I think going into it and not really understanding the disconnect between the black community and the political process, I think that was where I went wrong. I really underestimated that level of involvement that was needed, because I really believed that they would actually go out, because here you have another African American, actually young, who was really looking to make a difference in the city. And what happened was they just didn't, you know, latch on to it, any possibility of that at all. So.
Okay.
So if you had to pick 3 things that the city need done right now, name the 3 things, and then tell me, in your opinion, do you think the current mayor or the upcoming mayor is going to do these things?
Well, I think if you listen to the message that I kept saying throughout my whole campaign, I really wanted to focus on dealing with the poverty here. And now this is the irony. Here I am, an African-American male, one of 7 kids, just my mother. So I'm, like I explained, you know, I'm on the front lines, or was on the front lines of what poverty is. And if you listen to my message, that's what I was trying to tell people. But this is the problem. The problem is, if you look at the voting base, you know, many of them have no idea what poverty is, because either you work for the city or you work for the school board, so you have a pretty cushion job, so your needs are being met. So poverty isn't one of the issues that's going to get you to vote for me. But if you look at the individuals who are in poverty, in particular the 40% poverty rate for African Americans, those are the ones that the message fell upon deaf ears, because you had someone who was interested in making your situation better by using the city resources to not only develop the city, but to develop, you know, the individuals who needed the resources the most. But they didn't hear the message, so they didn't go out to vote. Why? Because they don't vote. And so when you don't vote, what you do is you go against your own interests. So like they say, bad politicians are elected by good citizens who do not vote. And if you do not vote, then these individuals get elected because they campaign on the issues of what the voters believe. Because voters say, well, we need lower taxes. But if you're poor, you don't own a home, so you don't pay taxes on your home, so that's not an issue. So the more and more people who go and vote, and you have people who campaign on cutting taxes and replacing roads and sidewalks. If you don't have a car, you're not concerned with the condition of the roads. So the poverty was one. The other thing would definitely have to be our downtown area. In Niagara Falls, we don't have a downtown area. And that's one of the things that I kept highlighting, that we need an aggressive, comprehensive economic development plan that was going to focus on, A, establishing our downtown, and B, developing it. You know, because that's going to create jobs right there in terms of developing and identifying what sections of downtown you want it to be. That's going to create jobs, because you're talking about $1 billion project that's going to bring jobs here. And the third thing is basically just bringing jobs here. And part of that economic development established in the downtown area was going to bring those jobs here. And it's not just any jobs, it's quality paying jobs, living wage jobs. You can't raise a family on minimum wage. It's impossible. I was on the Sal Panessa show, and the caller called in, and he was explaining to me that people don't want to work. You have 4th, 5th generations welfare individuals, and you're not going to work. And he was bragging on, you know, when he was working, it was, you know, he made 95 cents an hour, and when he went up to $1.25, you know, he was ecstatic, and he thought it was a lot of money. And so I asked him, I said, how much was a loaf of bread back then? He said, what are you talking about? I said, how much was a loaf of bread? He said 25 cents. So I told him, I asked him, well, how much is a loaf of bread today? Exactly. So he's dealing with 2 different eras. And he can't understand that it's not the individuals on public assistance, because the money is there for those individuals. So he's bashing people on public assistance when I'm simply telling him, why would you work and be penalized? Why would you work for minimum wage and be penalized for working and not qualifying for benefits that's going to help your family, when if you don't work, you qualify as much benefits as you need to take care of your family? So I said, who would work outside of a moral, outside of your moral conscience? Who would want to put themselves in such dire straits to where you can't take care of your family because you're working poor? And he couldn't understand that. So I asked him this question. I asked him how many people did he know that was on public assistance? And he told me none. So I said, why are we having this conversation about public assistance when you don't even know anyone on public assistance?
Okay, you seem like a real intelligent person.
So now that you have lost the race, what is your plans now? What do you plan on doing? Are you going to rerun in a few years, or did you give up?
No, that's a good question. I got that question a lot, and after the election, the Niagara Gazette called me and asked me that same question. But I don't tell the Gazette anything, you know. You know, that Mark Scheer, he's an objective reporter. I mean, a subjective reporter. He doesn't allow the readers to form their opinion, so I didn't allow him to give him any information he can use. But I started an organization called the Political Process Incorporated. Now, part of the reason why I started that organization was to help minorities, including women. It doesn't matter, because women are a part of minority. It's just not a black organization. Part of that is for us to get involved in the political process. So I didn't have any experience in the political process.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I need to get some experience, because it's hard to go to someone and tell them, well, you should run for something if I don't know what that's like.
Okay.
So I immediately decided to say, you know what, this is my time. I'm done with school. You know, I have my master's degree. It's time. So I entered the race so I can get that experience, and I got it on both ends. I got it on both ends. So this organization basically is going to revolutionize the political process here. Right now we're doing a membership drive where we're looking to get 1,000 members. Just imagine one group has 1,000 registered voters who have their voter registration updated, who vote regularly and consistently. Imagine what that would do for your community. Because when any election year, politicians will only address their constituents. Okay. If you are not a registered voter and you do not vote, they are not going to take your interests. Why? Because 1,000 votes in this city is going to make the difference in any election. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's the power of unity. And that's what one of our core value is, supporting the power of unity. Okay. If you have $5 and I have $5 and he has $5, we have $15. Right. But individually, we keep it in our pockets. We only have $5. You can't do much with it. Right. You know, so I'm really going to try to influence politics in this city and get people involved. You know, everything, your life is governed by politics. You know, whether you want to be involved or not, you are involved. You just choose to sit on the bench. Right. You have something to contribute, you need to contribute. Find out where you contribute. Because what these politicians believe that, especially if you're a minority, that your greatest contribution is served in the voting booth, voting for their interests. Okay. Which they don't identify your needs or your interests, so your communities continuously crumble. So we have to get more involved in the political process, and that's why I started that organization. As far as the future, I mean, absolutely, I'm gonna run again. Okay. Without a doubt, you know, I'm gonna run again. You know, regardless of what the numbers show. Hopefully, that I'm able to build a good foundation in terms of getting people involved. So next time around, that they understand the significance of them actually going out and voting. Okay.
Okay, you sound a very intelligent young man, educated. How do you feel about the city bringing in people for city jobs? They're not even from Niagara Falls.
Well, it really destroys the foundation and the fabric of Niagara Falls, because you have so many people here who are looking for jobs. Niagara Falls has a very high unemployment rate. For minorities, it's 23%. At large, it's 10%. You know, that's a very large population. You do have individuals with degrees and who can do those jobs. It makes no sense to put out a national search to bring people here for the sake or possibility that they have some type of expertise that you don't have. If that was the case, our city would be thriving. You know, and it hasn't worked out, and I think it's one of the silliest things. And you know, Dicer, he's not going to do that again. You know, but I don't know. You know, he overwhelmingly won the primary, so people support his views and his quote unquote lack of whatever leadership he's trying to present there. So.
Okay, well, we're going to go to commercial and be right back. Got to pay the bills.